And then I don't. Prince was not on drugs, but I believe how do I say this? Omar's wife may have gotten something from them. How do I say it? To set him up. That's all. You know what I'm trying to say. Prince was not on drugs, but I believe there is a connection there of her possibly getting something from Mark or Ursula. Okay, so that was one piece of it. Then the other thing was maybe about a month later. Again, I was up at Paisley, and Omar was trying to come in with his, again, wife, Virginia, and the people that were, the security persons that were standing there talking, they didn't even know who he was, and they were like, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Oh, that's Prince's, half-brother, Omar, blah, blah, blah." And so then she's like, oh, okay. And so then they let him in. He said, "Okay, thanks, Vera." So then they were in the sitting in the back area. He was sitting in the back area again at a purple round couch area, and he was having obviously an argument with Virginia, his wife. So he was extremely mad. Something had gone down, and there was an argument going on. Well, then later when I was in the merchandise area getting ready to leave, which was the back where they keep moving the merchandise. But this was in this tented area they had set up for the merchandise area at the time, as you're going out of the back part of Paisley. So when I saw Omar, I said, "Omar, look," I said, "I don't know what's going on and why somebody's not arrested yet. I know Prince was not on drugs, and you know he was murdered." So then Omar looks at his wife, and then he fingers me to come over talk to him privately because he didn't want her to hear. And he says to me, "Yeah, Vera, I know. Don't worry. We're gonna open up a civil wrongful death lawsuit." I said, "If you know who did it, Omar, why don't you say something?" You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was another thing he says to me again over about a year ago.
Really? So you were in Minneapolis and they wouldn't let you come to the party?
I didn't go out there.
Okay.
They wouldn't, I was calling.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they were, taking the calls and, "No, don't worry, he's fine. He's going to call you. It's going to be okay." It wasn't okay.
And this was Moline, Illinois, where the plane had landed. He had overdosed then, right?
I think so, yes. Yeah, I knew something that didn't sound right, that he was getting fluids because of a cold. And I don't know why they lied to me.
They had to protect him.
I don't think so. I don't think they were protecting him. If they were protecting him, he'd still be alive.
Of course.
Yeah,
they
so
weren't.
those people are enablers. They know who they are. Some of them had to hire criminal lawyers. I'm not going to even say their names because I wouldn't waste my breath.
When you talk about nutrition, you're absolutely right. He was really careful of what he would eat, what he would put into his body, and we learned a lot from him with that. He was very health conscious, and I know that there's already reports on the news about medication issues, but I've never seen him take anything.
Fentanyl things are getting cut with fentanyl a lot. It's not an uncommon thing for all sorts of different drugs. Like, how many different drugs are cut with fentanyl? Street drugs.
Oh man, it is like an awful time to be a young person on the party scene. If you didn't get your pill from CVS, your pain pill, or from a pharmacy, that's legit. It could be cut with fentanyl. And that's how Prince died. That's how Tom Petty and the rapper Mac Miller all died, is that they were thought they were taking legitimate pain pills.
Is that really what happened?
That is really what happened,
Prince got his from the market?
Yeah, well, the guy who supplied Prince he refuses to really say exactly where he got it. But
he's still alive?
The guy who got him for Prince, yeah.
Where is he?
I don't know. I think in Minneapolis or something.
They should find that fucking guy.
Well, the doctor is also settled or something. I think the doctor might have been involved somehow. It's a mystery where he got these pills. But, Prince was doing the splits on stage at age, 58 or whatever. And he was definitely a guy who walked around with a lot of pain. He was a Jehovah's Witness. He was not a recreational drug user as we think about it. You know, he wanted pain, and I'm sure for years his handler or whatever was buying him off the dark net or whatever, and they were fine for years. But then a drug dealer trying to save some money, increase profits, cut it with fentanyl, and that's how he died. And I heard Tom Petty actually suffered an injury or hurt himself at one of his concerts, and he just literally walked outside and asked like the first sketchy guy he saw if he had any pain pills, and that's what killed him.
Jesus Christ. Oh. God. And Prince needed hip replacement surgery, didn't he?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Can we just give it up to Prince and his genius, and we're gonna miss him. So I just want to say that.
And Lonnie, to your point.
I want to tear the man down.
Yeah.
No, listen, I feel like we've been ripped off. He's been ripped off of his life. We've been ripped off of a great artist.
Absolutely.
Not his fault.
Yeah.
And again, I don't see a long history of addiction
At
or
all.
struggles.
Right.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's just you hear maybe there was something medical, then all of a sudden pain, and then all of a sudden he's dead.
Yeah,
that
and
is
there's
not
a lot
his
of
fault.
rumors, and we want to find out because a lot of people are like, well, we don't want to hear about it. I want to understand how he died because he was such a great guy. Plus, it can help other people.
Yeah, I think if they would have cooperated a little bit more, I think if obviously those blank testimony pages would have been filled with stories, we might still be in court, or we might have somebody, snitching on somebody else. We don't know. But obviously, if you put together all the pages that were left out, you still have a good-sized mystery on your hands. And again, just like I said the last time, all I'm doing is announcing the elephant in the room and the fact that there might be some elephant handlers around. It's up to everybody else how they take everything and move on through it. We might never get the answer, but it doesn't disregard the fact that somebody marched an elephant in the room called I'm Not Talking, right? And somebody followed it up, and 2 or 3 more people followed it up, and there's enough people following it up to where it really looks stinky when you look at the thing and spread out everything. So once you acknowledge that, then we're all living in truth, and you can move through it.
The thing about if you go back over the music now, so much of the lyrics are prophetic. I mean, if you look at the opening, beginning of Let's Go Crazy, when he says, you're on your own, if the elevator tries to go bring you down, he dies.
And if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy, what's
Alone in the elevator?
There is
The elevator was the symbol for the devil.
So much death in those lyrics going back. I mean, I realize now it's easy to look for that, but it's unreal. I mean, when you had D'Angelo on singing Sometimes It Snows in April on the show the other night, it's heaven and death and salvation. Like, it is there over and over again.
Did you have any inkling at all that he had become addicted to painkillers, or he was wrestling with this?
I had no idea. I mean, he hit it so well. I had no idea. I didn't even know opioid. I didn't know the name of that drug. I didn't even know what it did. I had to look it up once I found out that was, I guess, what he had. And I never heard of the drug before until he passed away. I knew nothing of it, so no, I didn't know anything about it.
And now, of course, this is all we hear about. As you mentioned, it's affecting hundreds of thousands, probably millions of Americans, and killing so many as well. And now there's information that when authorities searched his estate, some of the opioids were prescribed to his estate manager and friend. And there are allegations that Prince's doctor used Kirk Johnson's name to protect Prince's privacy. The doctor is disputing this, but what do you make of these latest developments?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just saw a little bit of it yesterday and then this morning, and people have been calling me and trying to find out what's going on. I don't know. I've kind of stayed away in the last 6 months or so, maybe even longer. These allegations that are coming up now, I don't know what's happening. I'm hearing things now, and I know that Kirk had been with him a lot in the last days, and I kept trying to call to find out how he was doing, and I couldn't get Prince on the phone, which was very strange. So I don't know what's going on.
Who do you think was responsible for his death? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. I hope that they find out. I mean, I feel like it was an accident because it seems like the things that he was taking that maybe from what they're saying that, you know, he didn't know what it was. And that's the thing about Prince is that he is a person who is always in control of his life. Why would he do something that would jeopardize his life? It doesn't make sense to me. And something, it just doesn't make sense. And that's why I keep going, how do we justify the circumstances? What is it? Well, there are a lot of people that are on those drugs that they have no idea how powerful those drugs are and not realizing, you know, it can take your life. And I think he learned that a little too late. And I feel that if there were people around him that could help him, you know, why didn't they do so? I didn't know he was that sick. I had no idea.
So do you think people around him were enabling him somehow?
I don't know, because I you know, I had to walk away for a while. I don't know.
Sarah, you actually interviewed Prince's bodyguard. Let's take a look at that.
I've been on tour with him for months. So if anybody had an addiction, that would be something you would see.
Oh, okay.
That would be something that you would know. That would be something that would be shown, not only through his actions and stuff like that, but through moments when he thinks people's not looking.
Now, Sarah, I think he's singing a tune that I actually agree with, which is addiction is different than dependency, and he may be actually reporting something accurate, is that Prince did not actually have addiction per se, which has a lot of behavioral disturbances with it. He didn't say, I never saw the guy take medication.
And why would he have pain? Because he was 5'3" and wore heels for decades. And not only wore heels, but danced on heels. And I mean, even that physical act seems impossible to most of us. How can you even do that?
He pushed himself so hard physically when he was young that I can't imagine that he wasn't suffering some sort of bodily pain. From the speakers, I saw him jump off 30 feet, 20 feet. Every night, you know, just perfect 10s. And if they weren't, you'd never know it. So if he landed wrong and it hurt him, you'd never know it.
Were you aware that he was in such physical pain? I mean, it was knowledge that, you know, he'd damaged his knees, of course, from all those years of those fabulous heels and all that dancing. But were you aware that there was so much pain?
I was not. And then every time our conversation, we always started with, how are you? He'd ask me first, how are you? Then I'd say, how are you? And if I had heard something or whatever, I would go, how are you really? Yeah. And then he would go into if there was anything. Yep. And I would look at him, you know, because then I could tell.
So could you tell when he was using too many medications and he was reliant on that so strongly? Was it evident to you?
No, definitely not. Never saw anything like that in all of the years.
Really?
And we were extremely close. There was not a time, there were maybe 6 months when because I had a drug and alcohol problem, there were about 6 months out of my whole life. And so, because he's older. Yeah. So, but I have a book coming out and it's going to talk about everything.
Okay.
The things that bug me with this whole thing, and I know it just takes y'all time to see all of it, but to me, it seemed like it was just a plan. You know, like it's awkward. You get your name and your rights to your music back. Now you did. Okay. You sit up here and Prince has never been scared. Like, never, like, I'm not saying that he's not human and he doesn't have fears of things, but, well, he didn't. But when it came to, for his name, for his music, for him as a person, for the rights of people, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't scared to fight for that. So it was like, for this to come out and then he'd be like, you know, right before all